I happened to just be on Best Buy's website and I had Xbox Series X in stock. I was beyond shocked. This was at the beginning of July, so I've had a couple of months with the console now. I just want to talk about some of the positives that I've had with this console, and some of the negatives. I'll start out with that SSD. If I had to put down what my favorite new feature about the console is, it really would be the fast loading times. Just everything is so instant. Booting up the console now is done in mere seconds. Even if it's a cold boot, like it gets unplugged from the wall and then plugged back in, it only takes about 20 seconds. I just think back to the Xbox One's like 4K chip, and that shit took forever. The home screen and navigating the Xbox's menu are also similarly super fast. This transfers over to the games as well. For a game of its scope and size, Microsoft Flight Simulator loads pretty damn quickly. Even last generation games like NHL 21 loads in more quickly too, and it didn't even take that long in the Xbox One. Red Dead 2 load time, it's still somewhat long I guess, but it went from a full minute and a half to under a minute. Even though last generation games weren't necessarily developed with the SSD in mind, they can still take at least some advantage of it. Games that has received a next generation patch, like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, are uber fast. I just think about the PS3 days when I got Skyrim and would sit there for literal minutes at a time, just watching loading screens. I personally think that these faster loading screens are a huge game changer this gen. The next great thing is kind of a two-in-one punch, and that is Game Pass and the backwards compatibility. Game Pass is simply an incredible deal, especially Game Pass Ultimate, which is the highest tier. For $15 a month, you get access to literally hundreds of games for Xbox Series X, Xbox One, as well as PC. And that's not even including Xbox Live, which comes with the service. And there is some genuinely great stuff in here that spans across 4 generations of gaming. Classics such as Psychonauts, Banjo-Kazooie, Skate 3, Plants vs. Zombies are all available to play if one has purchased a subscription. That's not even it either. New games are being constantly added. Yes, this does come with the price of losing old games, but there will be warnings and announcements, which should give you enough time to check out any games that you are interested in. The big kicker though, first-party titles will be on the service day one. Remember how Microsoft Flight Simulator launched in July? Well, that's on Game Pass. Remember how Psychonauts 2 was released in August? That's also on here. Halo Infinite's multiplayer may be free to play for now, but the campaign and other modes that will launch alongside a $60 price tag? I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but that is also on Game Pass, damn it! The announcement is literally huge and gives Game Pass a value that's pretty unbeatable at the moment. Nintendo and Sony, they don't have anything that comes even close to Game Pass. I've been playing games like Microsoft Flight Simulator, Psychonauts, and I can't wait to jump into Psychonauts 2 thanks to this service. I can't wait to dig deeper. It's almost intimidating with all these choices I have right in front of me. Quick Resume is a very neat feature. This will allow you to have several games stored in the console's memory. This will allow you to switch between them pretty quickly. Like I could play a quick period in NHL, and then hop into Banjo-Kazooie and, just mess around in Treasure Trove Cove for a bit. Then hop into Microsoft Flight Simulator, then hop into Red Dead. It's pretty seamless when you hop into a game. It'll show a splash screen for a few seconds, then boom, you're right back in the game where you left off. And the only downside here is that there's no concrete number. It depends on how intensive the games are in the console's memory. So if one's not careful, they can lose save data due to a game not being in Quick Resume anymore. It gets booted out. Not every game supports it, like the original Psychonauts for example, which is another downside. I'll also bring this up now. Am I the only one that loves the design of this damn console? I love how the top concaves and how it has green paint on the vent holes on the top. It looks like a baby PC tower. It just looks so uniform and cool. Maybe I'm just weird as hell, but I just love the design of this. I also need to get myself an Xbox Series X fridge. That also looks pretty dumb. The last huge positive that I want to give the Xbox Series X is the fact that transferring data from my Xbox One X to the Series X was just so simple. Since it has backwards compatibility with literally everything that was on the Xbox One, it will all appear here. Games like Crash 4 and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order automatically upgraded to their next-gen versions. All of my Xbox One controllers, including my Elite controller, also work on the Xbox Series X as well. I play a lot of Nintendo consoles, so I'm not used to this stuff being intuitive and easy. Just transferring data to switch is such a headache. For whatever reason, my Red Dead save didn't transfer, but it looked like every other game, their saves made it over. Damn you, Red Dead. This actually kind of ties in with a couple of negatives I can dish out involving the Series X. It could very well be argued that this doesn't necessarily feel like a new generation at times, and we're almost a year in. The interface on the Series X is virtually copy-paste of the Xbox One's interface. It is more snappy, sure, but it didn't quite give off that I just bought a new console feel. The controller plays right into this as well. The Xbox Series controllers are basically slightly tweaked Xbox One controllers. There's a new grip, slightly altered D-pad, USB-C connection, and a new capture button. But that is it. I'm usually in the if it ain't broke, don't fix it camp, but this hinders innovation. I thought that the DualShock 4 controllers were completely fine and actually a big step up from their PS3 controllers. But what did Sony do? they didn't just do the same thing again. They innovated with the DualSense controller. I've heard that those damn dynamic adaptive triggers can cure cancer. I personally haven't tried it out yet as I can't get my hands on a PS5, but I like to see how a company can still innovate. Controllers have come a long way, but they can come further and they can genuinely change how you play the game. Another negative that I can dish out to the Xbox Series X is the fact that there are no exclusive games for the Xbox Series X if we include PC. If you're talking head-to-head with PS5, the big ones right now on the horizon are Microsoft Flight Simulator, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite. I like how every Xbox Studios games is coming to PC, but that means if one owns a PC, an Xbox Series X can be considered redundant. I mostly bought the Series X just because it was in stock, as I have a relatively decent gaming PC with a 2070 Super. It was fun dipping my toes into Game Pass, but I could have done that with PC. I'd be missing a few classics like Banjo-Kazooie and Skate 3, sure, but many won't really care. The PS5 launched with Demon's Souls and Astro's Playroom being exclusives to the PS5, and that's not to mention Sackboy Big Adventure and Spider-Man Miles Morales are on the PS4. The only way to play these big exclusives, as well as Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, is to buy Sony hardware. The last negative they'll give the Xbox Series X is the storage space. Yes, it is more than the PS5, but it really isn't too much still. The 1TB SSD gets cut down to roughly 800 gigabytes. Even though I've only had a console for the couple months, I'm almost out of storage already. Especially with Game Pass, expect a lot of deleting and reinstalling. This is of course compounded by the fact that physical discs download themselves. I wanted a physical copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator because I'm dumb and I kind of like to have a shelf full of games. I know this is how it worked last generation too, but it doesn't make it any less annoying. If one has held onto their own original Xbox games, they will still need to download a few gigabyte update, which, you know, will uplift them to 1080 and everything, but that can add up. I personally really like my Xbox Series X. I know one could argue that a PC can make it irrelevant, but that didn't stop me from trying out Game Pass to play games that I very well could have missed out on. Like the original Psychonauts, that game was a damn classic, and I didn't even play it as a kid. The great SSD under the hood also ensures that swapping between Game Pass games is fast. You compound this with Quick Resume. A subscription service like Game Pass is just perfect for this. Just swapping between games is just so seamless. I think this is a great choice for a console if one doesn't own a PC. It has access to 4 generations of gaming, with the opportunity to play literally hundreds for a quick monthly fee. It is true that there is a lack of true exclusives, and that the SSD can run out of space quickly, but the way that games load quicker just makes them a treat to play on the Xbox Series X. Also, I love that damn reticular form factor. It just looks so cool. I'd argue that this is worth the $500 for me, because I'm gonna just dive right into Game Pass and play games I never really would have thought of playing. Also, I beat the battle against the scalpers. Screw you guys, you're scum.